It's 2:18 a.m. in a quiet Sacramento suburb. A dog barks once, then falls silent. Inside, a young woman stirs in her sleep, unaware that a shadow is moving through her backyard. She wakes to a blinding flashlight in her eyes. A voice, low and cold, whispers, "Don't move, don't scream, or I'll kill you." He ties her hands. He knows exactly where the shoelaces are kept. He's been here before. By sunrise, the house is a crime scene. Police find the woman trembling, her world shattered. The only trace of the intruder, muddy footprints, a single earring missing, and a chilling message scrawled on the bathroom mirror, "I'll be watching." Word spreads fast. A predator is loose. He's not just breaking in, he's hunting. Every night, the city waits. Every creak, every shadow, every bark in the dark is a threat. But the hunter is always one step ahead. He studies his prey. He learns their routines. He calls them days before he strikes, just to let them know, "I see you." He's not satisfied with fear. He wants control. The intruder whispers, "If I hear these plates rattle, I'll kill you both." He drags the wife away. The husband can do nothing but listen. He lingers for hours, eating their food, rifling through their memories, leaving behind a house that will never feel like home again. Detectives work around the clock. They set traps, they patrol neighborhoods, but the hunter is always watching. He slips through the cracks, sometimes literally, crawling through hedges, ditches, and canals to escape. The attacks stop. For a moment, the city breathes. But then, hundreds of miles away, the nightmare returns. Only now, the hunter doesn't leave survivors. The pattern is clear. The fear is spreading. But the question remains, who is he, and how long before he strikes again? He leaves more than fear behind. He leaves puzzles. A shoelace tied in a knot no one in the house recognizes. A window screen, removed and set gently on the grass. A family photo, turned face down on the nightstand. He wants them to know he was there. He wants them to know he can come back. Days after the attack, the phone rings. A woman answers, her voice barely above a whisper. A silence. Then a voice, raspy, almost gleeful. "Remember when we played?" He calls again. And again. Sometimes he just breathes. Sometimes he laughs. The city is in lockdown. A special task force is formed. Detectives, profilers, even FBI agents. They work in shifts, sleeping in their cars, chasing leads that vanish like smoke. But the hunter is always ahead. He changes his methods. He moves to new neighborhoods. He seems to know what the police will do before they do it. He grows bolder. He starts attacking couples, not just women alone. He forces the man to lie face down, threatening to kill them both if he hears a sound. He drags the woman away. The man listens, helpless as the nightmare unfolds just feet away. He lingers for hours. He eats their food. He drinks their beer. He leaves, finally, as quietly as he came. Sacramento is a city under siege. Hardware stores run out of locks. Gun shops can't keep up with demand. People sleep with baseball bats. Children are kept inside after dark. Every night, the city waits for the next attack. Then, as suddenly as he appeared, he's gone. But the nightmare isn't over. It's just moving south. Hundreds of miles away in Southern California, a new shadow falls. A couple is found murdered in their home. The scene is eerily familiar. Bindings, ransacked rooms, a killer who left no trace. The press calls him the original Night Stalker. But the police don't know. They're hunting the same man. He's changed his hunting ground. He's changed his name, but his methods are the same. The question remains, how long can a ghost keep running? And who will finally unmask him? The attacks in Southern California are more brutal. The killer is no longer content to leave survivors. Different police departments, different counties. No one realizes the monster haunting their nights is the same man who once terrorized Sacramento. But the killer is careful. He leaves no fingerprints, no hair, no witnesses. He slips away, always just out of reach. One night, a neighbor hears a scream. She calls 911. Police arrive in minutes, but the house is already silent. Inside, they find devastation. A couple, bound and murdered, a back door left ajar, footprints in the mud, leading to the darkness beyond. Detectives start to see the pattern. The same knots, the same bindings, the same cold, calculated violence. But the killer is always a step ahead. He changes his hunting ground, his routine, his victim. Years pass. The case goes cold. But in a locked evidence room, a vial of the killer's DNA waits. In the late 1990s, a new hope emerges: DNA profiling. A cold case detective submits the old evidence. The results are electrifying. The East Area Rapist and the original Night Stalker. One monster, two names. The case becomes legend. Detectives retire, but the file never leaves their desks. Online, a new generation of sleuths takes up the hunt. They pore over maps, timelines, and police reports, searching for the clue everyone else missed. One night, a writer named Michelle McNamara sits at her desk, surrounded by boxes of files. She gives the killer a new name: the Golden State Killer. Her obsession is contagious. She interviews detectives, survivors, and armchair investigators. She writes, "One day soon, you'll hear a car door slam in the early morning, and they'll be there. This is how it ends for you." 2018. A new team of detectives tries something radical. They upload the killer's DNA to a public genealogy website. Piece by piece, they build a family tree. Hundreds of branches, thousands of leaves. April 24, 2018, a quiet suburb. A man takes out his trash, unaware he's being watched. The DNA is a mask. The ghost has a face. The hunter is finally caught. But the story isn't over. What drove a former police officer to become California's most feared predator? What secrets still hide in the shadows? But the story isn't over. What drove a former police officer to become California's most feared predator? What secrets still hide in the shadows? The world wants answers. And for the first time in 40 years, the Golden State Killer can no longer hide. Inside a stark, windowless room, Joseph DeAngelo sits across from detectives. He's older now, frail, silent, his hands trembling just slightly. For hours, he says nothing, but the evidence is overwhelming. DNA, timelines, the stories of dozens of victims, all pointing to him. Finally, DeAngelo breaks his silence. His voice is barely a whisper. "I did all that." The list of charges is staggering. 13 counts of murder, 50 rapes, dozens of burglaries and assaults. The world watches as the Golden State Killer is finally unmasked, not as a monster, but as a man who lived among them for decades. The trial is unlike any other. Survivors and families fill the courtroom, their faces a mix of relief, anger, and exhaustion. One by one, they speak. Their words are sharp, raw, and unforgettable. August 21st, 2020. Joseph DeAngelo is sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. For the first time, the city breathes. The nightmare is over. But the scars remain. The headlines fade, the police files are closed, but the legacy of the Golden State Killer lingers. California is changed forever. Neighborhoods once paralyzed by fear now stand as a testament to resilience. The case rewrites the rules of criminal investigation. Genetic genealogy, once a tool for family trees, becomes a weapon against the darkest crimes. Cold cases across the country are reopened. Other monsters, once thought untouchable, are finally brought to justice. Michelle McNamara never saw the case solved. But her words lit the path. She reminded the world that monsters are real, but so is hope. For decades, he was a ghost, a shadow in the night. But in the end, he was just a man. Caught by the courage of survivors, the persistence of detectives, and the march of science. The Golden State Killer's reign is over. But the story doesn't end here. Because every case, every victim, every answer is a promise. No one is ever truly lost, and no monster can hide forever. In a sterile lab, under the hum of fluorescent lights, a new kind of detective works late into the night. Not with a badge or a gun, but with a keyboard and a strand of DNA. They upload the Golden State Killer's DNA to a public genealogy website. The screen fills with names, distant cousins, second cousins, strangers who share a sliver of code. Detectives cross-reference the tree with old case files. They look for men the right age, in the right place, at the right time. One name stands out: Joseph James DeAngelo. A former police officer, a man who lived in the shadows of every crime. They watch him for days. He moves through his quiet neighborhood, mowing the lawn, waving to neighbors, living a life of perfect camouflage. Detectives wait for the moment. A discarded tissue, a scrap of DNA. The final piece of the puzzle. The news explodes across the country. A monster, unmasked. A case, once thought unsolvable, finally closed. For detectives, it's a moment of triumph. And a new beginning. Old evidence is re-examined. Unsolved cases are given new life. Families who waited decades for answers finally see a glimmer of hope. The Golden State Killer case becomes more than a story of crime. It's a story of technology, persistence, and the power of never giving up. A new generation learns the lesson: no secret is safe forever. No evil can hide from the light. But even as the case closes, questions linger. How many more crimes did he commit? How many more monsters are still out there hiding in plain sight? For every victim, every family, every detective who refused to give up, the Golden State Killer's capture is a promise that justice is possible, that the past can be confronted, that the truth will always find a way. The Golden State Killer's reign is over, but the story echoes on. In every solved case, every new technology, every survivor who finds peace. Because in the end, the darkness never wins. Not when there are those who refuse to stop searching for the light. The Golden State Killer's capture is hailed as a triumph of science, but not everyone is celebrating. For every cold case solved, a new question emerges. How much privacy are we willing to give up for justice? For some, it's a risk worth taking. For others, it's a line that should never be crossed. But the revolution can't be stopped. Across the country, detectives dust off old files, hoping for their own miracle. One by one, the dominoes fall. For the families of the Golden State Killer's victims, closure is bittersweet. Some wounds never heal, but the truth, at last, brings a measure of peace. Many survivors choose to speak out, not just for themselves, but for everyone still waiting for justice. Their courage inspires a new generation to keep fighting, keep searching, keep hoping. For the detectives who spent their careers chasing a ghost, the case is more than a victory. It's a promise kept. The world can't look away. Podcasts, documentaries, and books dissect every detail. The Golden State Killer becomes a symbol of fear, of obsession, of the power of truth. But not every question is answered. Not every case is closed. For every monster unmasked, another waits in the dark. The Golden State Killer's story is a warning and a beacon. No matter how long it takes, no matter how dark the night, the truth will find its way. In the years after the Golden State Killer's arrest, police stations across America are transformed. What was once a wall of unsolved cases is now a map of possibilities. Old evidence is re-examined with new eyes. A single hair, a drop of blood, a forgotten fingerprint. Each could be the key to unlocking another mystery. The Golden State Killer's capture is just the beginning. Within months, other notorious cases fall. Genetic genealogy becomes the new frontier, a tool for justice and a warning to those who think they can hide forever. But the shadow of the Golden State Killer lingers. For those who lived through his reign, the fear never fully fades. Therapists see a wave of patients, some who never spoke of their trauma until now. Some who still wake at night, listening for footsteps that aren't there. A new generation grows up hearing the story, not as a warning, but as a lesson. They learn that monsters can be caught, that science and persistence matter, that justice, though slow, is possible. But with every breakthrough comes a crossroads. How far should we go to catch a killer? Who decides what lines can be crossed? The hunt never truly ends. For every case closed, another file is opened. The promise of the Golden State Killer case is not just that evil can be found, but that it must be faced again and again. In the end, the Golden State Killer was not a phantom but a man. He was caught not by luck, but by the relentless pursuit of truth. His story is a reminder. No matter how dark the night, no matter how long the wait, justice is always worth the fight. And so, the story closes where it began. A quiet California neighborhood, the sun rising, the world moving forward. For every headline there are stories that never made the news. Neighbors who heard a scream and never slept the same again. A detective who kept a photo of a victim in his wallet for decades. A survivor who found the courage to speak years after the world had moved on. The Golden State Killer's shadow stretched far, but so did the light of those who refused to let him win. His capture sent ripples through the world. Families reunited with answers, communities found closure, and the science that caught him became a beacon for the lost and the missing. The Golden State Killer case taught us that evil can hide in plain sight, that monsters are not always strangers in the dark, but sometimes the neighbor next door. But it also taught us that justice is not a moment. It's a journey made possible by science, by persistence, and by the voices that refuse to be silenced. If you know something about any unsolved crime, any missing person, any secret that's been kept too long, cemetery, speak up, share what you know. You could be the missing piece, because every answer matters. Every story deserves an ending. The Golden State Killer's reign is over, but the courage of those who hunted him, the hope of those who survived, and the science that brought him to justice, that is the legacy that endures. This is not just the end of a case, it's the beginning of a new era, where no one is truly lost and no secret can stay hidden forever. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, share it. Remember the names, remember the lessons, and never stop searching for the truth.